In a world where there are too many comic books to keep up with, one podcast has the stones to bring you all of your comic book needs, week by week, book by book. One epic show. You are now tuned in to Nerd Church Radio.
Hello and welcome to your Christmas special episode of NCR DC Focus. You guys hear that?
Yeah, jingle bells, sleigh bells.
They're really loud. I'm gonna have to bring those down in post production. I'm your host Benjamin Dupay. Joining me on the panel tonight is our in-house Amazonian expert, Mr. Noah O'Toole.
Hello.
And our comic shop history specialist, Mr. Justin Taylor.
How's it going?
Pretty good, and we are your holly jolly comic book overlords. This week on DC Focus, we will be taking a little bit. We'll be talking a little bit about the DC Rebirth Christmas special, where Harley Quinn and the rest of the DCU get together for a mad Christmas party to celebrate the reason for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before we start talking about the book, I do want to let you know that if you want to reach out to us for any reason, you can do so by emailing us at nerdchurchradio@gmail.com or by visiting our website at www.nerdchurchradio.com. On that website, where we have book reviews, podcast episodes, and so much more. We do also have a Patreon page where if you want to donate to us, you're certainly welcome to. That's patreon.com/nerdchurchradio. We do have all sorts of like rewards programs, if you will, for donations and stuff. And now we are also on the Google Play Store, and we have some other platforms that we've applied to, so more info to come on that. So that'll be pretty cool when we get on there, because I thought that people really only listened on the iTunes Store, but like I started posting stuff on Facebook, and people were like, "Oh, are you on Google Play?"
Right.
Like people use Google Play for podcasts? Like, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so yeah, I applied for that. So here at NCR, we are a certain type of podcast. What kind of podcast are we, Noah?
We're a spoiler podcast.
We are, and we're going to be spoiling the DC Rebirth Christmas special. So if you've not read it yet, just go ahead and press that pause button and come back to us after you've read it.
Be sure to get all 86 pages.
Yeah, it's a long one, man. It's a long book. It's kind of a slog, man, at times. I would recommend reading this one in segments, maybe. I don't know. Or if you're just really into it. But we do have a rating system here at NCR DC Comics where we like to rate the comic books that we talk about. Gideon, why don't you take them to church on our rating system?
If a comic book is bad, we rate it as blasphemy. If the book is good, we give our blessing. If the book is not bad, not good, but just kind of meh, we rate it as stuck in purgatory. If the book is great, we rate it as holy. And if a comic book exceeds all standards of awesomeness, we rate that book as salvation.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Gideon. So first off, holiday specials. I know about the Larfleeze Christmas special. How long has this been like a thing with DC Comics?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, just about every year. I mean, there's always something.
Whether it's an standalone issue of a regular series, or they actually do a holiday special. But between DC and even Marvel, it's been kind of a tradition for several years.
Really?
I would say at least since the 80s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So. Any favorite Christmas specials for you guys? Wonder Woman special? Have you ever seen a Wonder Woman holiday special before?
I have not, actually. I do see a lot of, back in the 40s, there were a lot of covers with her in Santa hats and fur on her boots delivering toys and things like that. So there's some great iconic Wonder Woman imagery from the 40s and stuff, but no recent issues, of course, come to mind, except I did think most of this one was pretty cute.
Yeah, I did too, man. What I'd really like to see is like a Trinity holiday special of them
That'd
like
be
hanging
nice.
out on the holiday, over Christmas, and something goes awry.
I will tell you that when we get the JSA back, guaranteed there will be a Thanksgiving Day special.
Really?
Because every year in either Justice Society or Justice League, all of them got together and had Thanksgiving dinner.
Thanksgiving.
Oh,
and
wow.
and it was a tradition in the different books.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Huh. I was kind of disappointed. I wanted like some Halloween action this year. There was in Green Lanterns this year. They kind of went trick or treating, and there were some themes of Halloween, but there wasn't really like a Halloween special. That just feels like such a cool thing to like. They could do like the Justice League Dark Halloween or something like
Yeah.
that. That would be really cool to see something like that happen. All right,
But it's Halloween every day in Gotham.
that's
so.
true. Yeah. It'd be they probably don't like celebrating Halloween very much in Gotham City. All right, so we'll just kind of like talk. I'm going to break this up into segments here. So this book has kind of a framing device in it where Harley Quinn has thrown a Christmas party, and like all the members of the DC universe have just put their
Yep.
differences aside. I
Pretty
guess
much.
like Batman has let them out of Arkham, and they're just hanging out and having a jolly time. And Harley Quinn is throwing a Christmas party, and some type of holiday. I don't know, like play or musical type thing that she's having on the stage.
Yeah, it sort of invoked images of the Charlie Brown Christmas special to me.
Yeah.
You know that stage and the art for the Harley Quinn parts. It looks like a woman named Elsa Charretier drew it, but I was saying earlier her art reminds me a lot of Darwin Cook. Who is just fantastic. It's very, very cartoony, but very awesome at the same time, and it all kind of fit the cheekiness of the Harley Quinn holiday aspect to it.
In fact, there's a few references to Darwin Cook,
Yeah.
the Darwin collection and
Right.
stuff like that throughout the book.
Yeah.
To me, it actually really reminded me a lot of Christmas with the Joker, the old Batman animated series episode. It definitely had that feel. It's not, that...
Man, I still haven't watched that yet. I need to.
I love that episode. It's the second episode of the entire series, and it definitely sets the tone for the series, but it has a lot... This has a lot of that feel in the in-between parts.
I don't think that's the second one. The second one's Scarecrow, I think.
It might be. I know it's in the beginning,
Probably around there, yeah, okay.
But like this was written by Paul Dini.
Okay,
cool. So that's why you get that feel. But
he's written some great.
Oh yeah.
He wrote a lot of Zatanna, a couple standalone excellent
That
stories.
book was amazing.
Wow. Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
So we open up with the Harley kind of introducing her Christmas special, and we kind of get a just fun little intro of that, and then we cut to our first short story, and this was probably my favorite story in the entire book. So the first story shows Clark trying to hunt down a video game system for his son Jonathan, and we get a cute story where he ends up being kind of one-upped by Damian. Superman's like going to try and find all these, are going through all these stores and trying to find this video game system, and they keep being out of it, and he keeps getting sidetracked along the way, having to like save people from certain disasters and stuff. And he shows up at the last store, and there's one system left, and Damien shows up and just snatches it out from under his mitts, and and then there's a Christmas party or a Christmas get together where the Wayne family and the Kent family get together, and Clark is like, "I'm sorry, Jonathan, I didn't get you this toy," and Damien ends up giving the game system to Jonathan. And it's kind of great because like Jonathan was just telling Damien earlier, like, hey, do you ever wish you were just like a normal kid, and like you could just play, and like I mean, like Bruce, at the end of it, Bruce and Clark go out on the porch, and Bruce is like, he really should have let you give that to him, and Clark's just like, yeah, but it's okay because they get to be friends and like play like kids and stuff, and it's just a really great story, man. It's like this to me kind of encapsulates what these stories should be in a Christmas special. There were certain aspects of this book where I felt like maybe they tried to do a little too much, or tried to put in a little too much, and this was like that perfect balance, man. What did you guys think about this story?
I thought it was pretty cute too. I wasn't sure how to judge right at first because they first fight the rainbow monster, which came out of a volcano, and I was kind of like, okay, and then he kept getting sidetracked by all these F-list villains. I don't even know if they really exist. Winter Wasp, Kite Man. Yeah, I was like, okay, but I mean that was kind of the point. I think was he kept getting sidetracked, and then it made it funny. But I did enjoy that. The moral of the story was that Jonathan just wanted a friend, and
it was pretty fun. The Rainbow Monster, man, it just reminds me of like Batman's rainbow suit from back in the day. You know, what did you think of this one, Justin?
I really like this one. This is a good. It sets the stage really well for the rest of the book, and also, you know, for what's to come, like the Super Sons book. It definitely is showcasing that. The art in this story is just, to me, is phenomenal.
Man, that double splash page of Soups.
The one where, you know, he hears somebody, you know, holding up a Santa, and then they show it inside the ear, and it's just,
that was so cool. I love. I
keep getting drawn to that panel, and like the art is amazing, the story is great, and the interaction between, you know, Clark and Bruce, is phenomenal. It reminds me of the old pre-Flashpoint Superman Batman early run.
Yeah, and it just
where they're friends, and you know, they're spending time together as friends, not necessarily as heroes.
Well, that's what I love. The dad. That's what I love so much about the Trinity #1 issue was like they were all getting together for dinner, and you're just watching them all kind of hang out as normal people, and like that sort of aspect of Clark Kent is lost on certain people sometimes, like his human aspect,
right?
You know,
and the other thing the writer nailed, you know, Damian being somewhat of a little, but at the same time doing it for the right reasons, right. You know.
Yeah, I love Damien. I don't know. I love to hate him, but I love him.
Right? Yeah, I love to hate him. That's a good. Yeah.
He's just one of my favorite little kid characters, just because you hate him so much. But that's kind of what you want. You can't hate him really though, because it's like, you know, he's a victim of circumstance,
right?
Like, you know, so it's like, you know, you probably
your dad's Batman and your mother's Talia al Ghul. How do you imagine you're going to turn out? You know?
I think I did decide this week that Superman is probably my favorite DC character. I've always gone Green Lanterns, but I think the more I think about it, like when I really think about what kind of person you want to be and stuff, I think Superman is like everything I would want to be in a person, just out of like the decisions he makes, and he's always doing the right thing and stuff. I don't know. That's just a sidebar on that, but like I was really trying to think about like who's my favorite DC character, because I get asked that sometimes. Okay, cool. So then we jump back to the narrative with Harley doing her thing at the Christmas special.
It was cute. She did a take on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with Crypto, the eye laser super dog, and I thought it was cute that Killer Frost, Captain Cold, and Mr. Freeze were like the Old Man Winter or whatever the villain was in the.
Yeah, the art in this one is a little off, it seems, because she looks really. Her and Crypto both look like kids in one panel. Oh well, I guess it's on the television though.
Right.
Okay, that never mind. Then I reject.
It's supposed to look very much like the old like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, so I guess that works.
And he goes, "Arf."
Yeah, I really like that little vignette.
Yeah, it's great. It's just great. I love it. So then the next story is crypto themed as well. This is probably my second favorite story in the book. You know, my favorite ones were right at the beginning, and it kind of fell apart towards the end for me. But this next one opens up with Clark, Lois, and Jonathan talking about crypto and whether or not he knows that he's not like other dogs. You know, he's weird. Or different, I guess I shouldn't say weird. He's just different than the old special. Yeah. So Clark and Jonathan decide to go out and buy Crypto a Christmas present, but Clark takes Jonathan to the Fortress of Solitude instead, which is like, you know, way to go, Dad. I thought I was gonna get to go smell Cinnabons, but instead I'm hanging out in a giant freezer. But anyway, Clark and Jonathan decide to give Crypto a collar made out of the original Superman belt. And it's like, you know, it's just heartwarming to watch that sort of thing. It's just a 2-page story. I was a little concerned when I opened it up and saw the words, because it was like, ugh. But then it was only 2 pages, and it was like, oh, okay, it's really condensed. So that kind of made it okay for me. And I love Crypto, man. He's probably
the super pets, or anytime a super pet makes an appearance.
Yeah. That or what's the cat? Oh man.
Dexter?
No, the old
Streaky.
cat. Streaky.
Yeah.
That just, I don't know.
I have a stuffed Jumpa.
A stuffed Jumpa. What's that?
Those are the kangaroos that lived on the Wonder Woman island, and then they'd ride, and so her super pet's a kangaroo with a tiara and bracelet. It's called Jumpa.
Oh, really?
And of course there's Beppo the monkey.
Yep.
What's that?
That's
Beppo
the super monkey.
So is this
this is old like
and
50s.
Bat Hound and
I was gonna
Ace
so
the Bat Hound.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ace the Bat Hound. Yeah, we just saw him pop up in a story too, In the new talent showcase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, the Batman annual.
No, the Batman annual. Yeah, good call. Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, otherwise though, this is great. I love the way they found a way to incorporate the pre-New 52 Superman suit in this.
Mm-hmm. That was the one note I made, is that I liked that his red underwear on the outside suit showed up.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that. And, Crypto's old school too, and he got the old school belt, and it was just a short little comic, but it was heartwarming. It was fun. It was what you want to read.
Yeah, I tell you, I read this little 2-page, and I'm like, Dan Jurgens must have had something to do with this. And then I went back and looked, and he's the layout person, so he definitely was involved. Just because the old suits there, like multiple old suits,
right.
And Crypto, and the Fortress of Solitude, and Superman, being lighthearted,
right? The classic Superman elements.
Oh yeah.
It was great, man. Anytime I see Crypto, I'm excited. So then next we get a piece of the narrative where Batman has done something not very Batman-ish, it seems, but he has taken money out of everyone's accounts and donated it to the Wayne Foundation Police Retirement Fund, including Bobo the Detective Chimp and Harley and Zatanna and who's this one in the back wearing blue?
Black Canary was there.
Oh yeah, that looks like maybe a Black Canary. She's dressed up for a show or something. But
yeah, that's Black Canary in her outfit because she was singing while Zatanna pulled the 12 Days of Christmas out of the hat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and he's just there sipping his whatever.
That was just absolutely hilarious because they all got a text at the same time, and then it was said, "This is to notify you that a gift has been made to the Wayne Foundation Police Retirement Fund."
Yeah,
and they're all like, name. "Really? Yeah, your name."
Yeah, and he hacked their accounts and donated some money, which I guess is okay, that's cute. I guess doesn't seem like something Batman would do, but whatever. It's kind of
he stole from the rich, and I guess they're not rich, but
yeah,
I don't know.
He just stole from.
It was funny.
Gave it to it was cute. It was a funny little anecdote. So next one is my third favorite story in this book, and this one is where Batman and Bobo the Detective Chimp team up. And let me see, I wrote something. So, yeah, the Bobo, the Detective Chimp, and Batman team up to rescue one of Santa's reindeer, which was just a ton of fun, man. Bobo, the Detective Chimp, they do a little foreshadowing at the beginning where it looks like Bobo's just shot a... It
looks like he shot the elf.
Yeah. Turns out he didn't. And, then we jump back and see Bobo and, fake, what we think is fake Santa Claus. And fake Santa Claus is talking about how, he didn't do background checks on the elves and
L.A. Mall Santa.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of them stole his pet dog and, asking Bobo to help. So then Bobo heads on over to Gotham and visits Batman, and Batman's like, "No, I'm busy, man," and Bobo just solves Batman's detective in a split second, which I thought was hilarious. I also find it hilarious that he calls himself the world's greatest detective, because that's just and I thought that was Batman's title. So
right,
yeah.
The interaction between him and Alfred, or Detective Chimp and Alfred, is just phenomenal.
Yeah. It's really great, man. I love it so much. It's just super cute and funny, and
Calculator got a shout out.
Yeah. Oh, did
yeah.
It's a he, right? Calculator?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he goes, the suspect that stole the dog was Jimmy Fingers McFinnigan, and he was a henchman for the Calculator back in the day in Gotham, which is why Detective Chimp went to Gotham to track down Fingers'...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was a henchman of the Calculator, but I was like, yeah, shout out for the Calculator.
Cool. Yeah, I'm still excited to see the Calculator turn up. I thought that they.
I thought we'd see him too, but he'll show up eventually.
So anyway, Bobo solves Batman's little case that he's on or whatever, and Batman's like, "All right, fine, I'll help you out." So they team up and they head out to a bar to track down this elf that's stolen fake Santa's dog, and they track him down. And on his way out the door, they track him down in a bar, and the elf tries to make a run for it, and he falls outside the bar, and apparently he's holding a cup of red wine, but that shot at the beginning of the novel makes it look like he's laying on the ground, and blood is all over. And Bobo shot a warning shot, but it looks like he shot him, but he's not dead. And they interrogate the elf and end up getting the dog back, and they have it at Bruce's place, and fake Santa shows up without having known where they just. I don't know.
But it's not a dog.
Yeah, and it's a reindeer.
It's Rudolph the Red. Yeah, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And, he takes the reindeer and leaves, and then, they're all hanging out, and they're like, you don't think that was really... Nah, it couldn't be.
They were like, how does LA Mall Santa know where you live?
Yeah.
It's like, because he's real Santa.
Yeah, and then, I love this last panel where you see, the sleigh in the background, the little silhouette. Mm-hmm. It's just really great.
And they're all enjoying some Jack Daniels, it looked like.
Yeah,
and they're trying to guess what's inside the box.
Oh, inside the box, yeah. Detective Chim can tell just from shaking that.
Yeah.
Like a watch or something.
It's a Rolex. It's definitely engraved. That's just fantastic. I love it. Do you guys know anything about Bobo the Detective Chim from, have you read much of his stuff?
Part of the magic portion of the DCU.
So Justice League Dark type stuff?
Actually, prior to that, there was a team called the Shadow Pact that formed during, I think it was Infinite Crisis or the lead up to Infinite Crisis.
Okay.
And a lot of the magic characters were involved in that. Prior to that, he was around. I think he had his own.
He's been around for a while,
way back in the 70s, during the when you had the different chimpanzee shows on television.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then he ended up at one point with Fate's helmet.
No way.
Oh, totally.
So it was like a mini monkey Dr. Fate then?
Yeah.
Because Fate takes on whatever body, as a host, right?
Yeah.
So did it look like a monkey wearing Dr. Fate's
Yeah,
helmet?
it was only
I've
for
remember
a couple issues. Though.
Oh, man, that's priceless, though. That's
he was
great.
mainly the person trying to get the helmet to the right
in
person.
stories here and there,
Yeah.
though. I mean, he was
Oh,
considered continuity,
Yep.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
and he frequents the Oblivion Bar, which is the magical bar outside of continuity.
Okay.
That all of the magic people go to.
Oh, there's a magical bar outside of continuity for DC?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's pre-Flashpoint. That's actually pre-Infinite Crisis.
Okay, I
that's old
I think
then.
it actually gets destroyed during Infinite Crisis.
Wow. Oh man, that's cool. I gotta learn about this, man. You gotta lend me some stuff with this in there. Tell me some good reading for that. Okay, cool. So then we head back to the narrative, and let's see what happens in this portion.
This was my favorite.
So yeah, Wonder Woman is freaking out Harley Quinn with her just totally brutal story of the Mascara's Christmas rituals. No, I'm gonna let you take this one because you're probably more adept at talking about this.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I laughed out loud when I read it. Harley's asking, let's have some holiday memories, and Wonder Woman says that there's no Christmas in Themyscira, but they do have a winter solstice festival where an Amazon is chosen to distribute gifts in the masked guise of the goddess Diana. Of course, there's always one Amazon who attempts to unmask the gift giver, initiating a challenge to combat. The losing challengers are forced to wear doe suits and run in a simulated hunt, where the does are symbolically skinned and prepared for baking in a giant pastry shell. They are spared if they can amuse their hunters in some way, like dancing like chickens. All in good fun, of course, she says with a smile. And this, believe it or not, actually happened in Wonder Woman number 6. Back in 1942.
Yeah, no, Justin, he brought an old book. He doesn't have Wonder Woman number 6, because obviously that'd probably fetch a pretty penny. But, I mean, this really
all
happened
throughout,
back.
Here's them riding a jumpa, a kanga. That's
Yeah.
a kanga, so they rode the kangas. But, yeah, they dressed up like little does, and they hunt them. And right there, they bake them into a nice little pastry shell. And the one says, I only hope they don't cut in the wrong place.
That's just fantastic,
And then when she gets out, she dances like a chicken. And they say, hola, hola, well done, chicken.
Oh, man. This is so great. To me that they're...
Bizarre.
Well, but it's great to me that they're pulling stuff from, Wonder Woman number 6.
See, but that's what you get with Paul Dini and Dan Jurgens and Mark Waid and Jeff Johns. They know that stuff.
Yeah, they literally lifted the most ridiculous thing out of her past.
Right, and a lot of them, they read the books and they wrote down their own ideas for comics when they were kids.
Oh, really?
And that's where we got Blackest Night. That's where we got a lot of these different stories.
No way.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I had no idea.
When we do some of the history things, the history podcast coming up, I'm sure we'll talk about all the weird comics that came out of the 40s and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and 50s. It was,
Well, and I guess now is as good a time as any to mention to the listeners that we are starting a History of Comics podcast. I haven't yet decided if it's going to remain on this channel or if it's going to be on another channel. It probably will remain on this channel because it's probably going to be a monthly show instead of a weekly. The first show, I think we're doing 1930 1928.
1930s, 1940s.
The 30s and 40s, basically.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
because comics kind of came in the late 30s, so
okay, yeah. So like we're gonna talk about pre-comics and stuff, everything from the 30s and 40s. Then we'll probably do a show on the 50s, and then from there we're just gonna work our way all the way up to current, and then we'll probably do specials after we catch up. But catching up will take like probably 8 or 10 months just to get to that point. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for that one. So okay, cool. So yeah, that was the narrative that they brought us back to. Then after that, we get the story with John Constantine and Wonder Woman, which was an odd team up for me because I've never seen them team up before.
I made that note myself that I thought it was an odd team up that I hadn't seen before, but they ended up tying it together nicely. The reason they were together.
So like John Constantine needs to get rid of a spell where he's trapped in his worst, or no, he's not able to sleep. Is that right? Yeah, and so him and Wonder Woman kind of team up to locate the person who's put the spell on John, and through some hijinks and cool action shots and stuff, they are able to get the person that has placed the spell on him, and they're able to get the spell off, and John goes to sleep, but he's stuck in his worst nightmare when he's sleeping. Which am I right about that, or did I get that right?
Yeah. Essentially, his nightmare that he had to reveal to the witch who put the spell on him was that he was sitting on a Santa's lap in the mall.
As an adult Constantine just sitting there like frowning and looking at the ground, sitting on Santa's lap, and it's just like the funniest thing, man. The outcome of that was hilarious to me. I felt like this book was more impressive with the art than it was with the story to me. I kind of enjoyed the artwork.
I didn't feel like there was full resolution to the story because the Wonder Woman portion doesn't seem like it finishes.
Yeah, she seemed a little bit more like a guest in Constantine's story because he was like, I don't know, he was at a winter solstice. That was actually one thing I'll kind of point out. Do you notice how that all the Harley interludes directly introduce characters? She had Krypto, and then Krypto was in, and she had Wonder Woman, and now Wonder Woman's in the story. So
and they were talking about the winter solstice
and the winter solstice, right? Yeah. So that's what they're kind of doing on this. And she's looking for Dionysus, who's the god of wine and partying and stuff. He's AKA from Olympus.
Okay.
And Constantine's looking for this witch called Brangwyn, who put the spell on him. And it turns out they were canoodling together, and so they teamed up to take them both down. And Wonder Woman, I guess, got Dionysus, and then we just ended with Constantine's story.
So she's looking for Dionysus just so she can kind of like party and kick back on.
No, he's gone. He should be in Olympus, and he's gone.
Oh, okay.
So she's kind of tracking him down.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. But overall, fun story, man. I mean,
I thought it was a fun story.
This had the feel of some of the older Hellblazer, like the Vertigo Hellblazer.
See, and I've never read any of the Vertigo Hellblazer. I have read the DC Rebirth Hellblazer, and I'm not a fan of that. And it's just a personal. I feel like Constantine belongs in a place where they can be a little more adult, and DC Rebirth just isn't that place.
I think the Rebirth stuff's better than what they did during New 52 with him, because he's back. He's at least closer to what he used to be. But there's a really good old Hellblazer issue from the Vertigo run where it's his birthday and it's all these other side characters, and they're all having a party, and it felt a lot like that issue.
Yeah.
It really did. So it was kind of cool to see those two interact. And of course, she has the opinion of, he's a con man, and he has the opinion of, well, she's a cape.
Right.
It's cool. It's an unusual team up for sure, but it resulted in some hijinks that I thought were kind of cute and fun. So I was like, what more can you ask for from that? So then we jump back to the Harley narrative. And this part, let's see, what did I note for this?
That one, I noted that Superman can play the piano apparently, and knows Odd Sade Lang is the Flash in his rogues gallery, saying,
"Well, yeah, and okay, Poison Ivy has spiked all the heroes and villains' drinks with one of her potions to." And it's making them all like kind of get along and kind of be drunk and play Christmas carols and sing together. Who do we got here? We got Captain Cold, Gorilla Grodd, Flash, Omen,
the Golden Glider, Weather Wizard, Pied Piper.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you knew all the ones I did.
Oh yeah, it's Flash and the
That's
Rogues.
the Rogues, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, and that's right in line with the next story where we got we got Flash and the Rogues. So in the next story, the Flash and Captain Cold call a truce for Christmas so some orphan kids can have presents, and it's just adorable, man. It's just cool. Like it's this thing where, I mean, I don't know how much detail I want to go into with it, but it's like Captain Cold tries to rob a bank and tries to get away with the money, and then what happens here?
The Rogues come together and tell Flash that that the trickster put 12 bombs across the city, and he can either disarm the bombs or stop them.
That's a very classic
Flash setup first Flash
conundrum.
trope.
Yep. Yeah. That's trope with
Yeah,
Flash.
yeah.
I mean, you see that on the show, and it's just that's the only way that a token villain like Captain Cold can really match the Flash is through his wit. So it's like, Flash goes to get rid of all the bombs and shows up right in time to catch the thieves. But when he speeds up in front of the bank, a van hits him, and it's a van with all the Christmas presents in it. It wrecks all the Christmas presents for the orphans. Which, Captain Cold was an orphan when he was a kid, and he's like, listen, man, I don't want these kids to not have presents that can ruin your childhood. So, what did he do? He
basically told Flash, hey, you know what? We're going to leave the city. We're gonna be gone until the first of the year.
Yeah, they called
then
the
we're
truce over
coming after
Christmas.
you.
Yeah.
But get those kids those
kids
presents.
presents.
Yeah, yep. And he's like, and then we'll be making your life hell in a couple weeks. And then Flash just smiles and he's like, I'm looking forward to it. And then Barry Allen, he's saying goodnight to the orphan back in real life, and telling him, he's telling him this whole story about this. I think throughout the whole thing is kind of what's happening, telling the orphan a story. And then downstairs, the kid comes down to check under the Christmas tree, and Flash is sitting there smiling him and giving him a present in front of the Christmas tree, and just whoosh goes off, and it's just the kid smiling at the end, and it's cute. It's just good story. I don't know. You're wearing a reverse Flash shirt over here, Justin. What do you think of this story?
I really like this one. The interaction between the Rogues and Flash in this is exactly what was missing from the Flash during New 52.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes that character is the Rogues and their willingness to go, no, this comes first, this member,
they're the best of the bad guys.
Right. I mean, Captain Cold is one good day away from saving Central City.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
well, and I think that's one thing that the show's gotten really right then too is
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of an anti-hero. He reminds me of Catwoman, where his heart might be in the right place, time and again, but he's certainly not opposed to robbing a jewelry store or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's always the way that the Rogues have been with Barry, not necessarily with Wally, but with Barry.
Yeah. One thing I really, I guess I lost it now. Ah, man, I hate it when that happens. Yeah. Yeah, just the Rogues in the TV show. They're just fun. Yeah, I don't know. They're cool. What I was gonna say. I don't really. I don't know how much I like the actor that plays Captain Cold. I feel like sometimes he overacts a little bit.
Wentworth Miller.
No.
Yeah, but I don't know. At the same time, it's like it's a comic book TV show. It's a DC comic book show. So like some overacting is kind of like it's kind of hokey and fun. And it's like, what more would I expect from a comic book show? If I were watching like, I don't know, something serious like Born Identity or something, I maybe would think that's stupid. But for a Flash TV show, it's like, well, that's kind of right on the money,
Yeah.
So, cool. So then we jump back into the. Oh no, we're not back in the narrative. Now we're into. We are.
No. I noticed that too. We just jumped right to New Superman.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in New Superman. Let's see. New Superman and his crew give a supervillain a nice meal before returning her to jail.
Basically.
And that's it. That's all. They catch a supervillain and they give her a nice, what the Christmas or what the Chinese holiday for around Christmas time, which is Dongzai, I believe is how it's pronounced. They give her a Dongzai meal, and they promise that they're going to take her back to jail after it's over. Have you guys been reading the new Superman story at all?
I've listened to podcasts where you guys have talked about it, but I haven't read it myself.
I'm pretty much in the same boat.
I honestly, man, it's been a standout for me. I really like. It was one of those that I read and I did not think I was going to enjoy it that much. I was like, "What is this? This is hokey and silly, and like I don't know if I'm going to like this." But after I read it, man, I loved it. I think that they didn't really try too hard to be the Chinese Justice League. There is a Chinese Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. The Wonder Woman is not an Amazon. I don't believe.
I don't think
No,
any of them have any direct tie to any of their American counterparts.
No, they're all simulated superheroes that the Chinese government just gave these superpowers to, and they're like, trying to create, because they're like, hey, America has a Justice League.
What about us?
We're China. We should have one too. So we're gonna steal their thing. But it's kind of fun because like Batman is like. I mean, I don't know. He's just the opposite of Batman in the States. And like Superman he was a bully before he became Superman, and Batman and Superman are always like beating each other up and getting pissed at each other. And, it's a fun book, man. I really enjoyed it. I hope that it doesn't get canceled because I've heard the sales are kind of down on that one, but and whenever that happens, that's not a good sign. So anyway, that was a fun one though. I had a little bit of fun with that one. So then back in the narrative, Harley makes some menorah antlers, which are antlers that she wears on her head made out of menorahs to honor her dual Christmas and Hanukkah heritage, which then end up catching the stage for the Christmas special on fire. And that's about all that happens there. I did not know she had dual heritage between being Jewish and Christian.
Yeah, I'm not surprised when you hear her talk in her Jersey thing. I guess you can maybe see that influence in her in her life if you look at it
absolutely.
that way. But that was I thought that was pretty cool, and it was funny because Canary and Zatanna were like, this is a little wrong. This is kind of inappropriate,
right?
And then the pear tree catches on fire.
Yeah. They're like, no, it's wrong because it's catching the tree on fire, not because it's wrong. Yeah. So I know you love Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
What do you think about Harley Quinn, Justin?
Well, I'm a big fan of like animated series and the older Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that Amanda Connor and Jimmy have been doing, it has been really good for the character. Because for a very long time there, the character did not evolve at all.
Are we talking about the new stuff that's in Rebirth right now?
Yeah, even prior to Rebirth, some of the end of New 52, with her trying to break her dependence on or her codependence on Joker,
Mr. J.
Was really really well written. As far as a character, the character now, I like to equate her to Deadpool. She's the DC Deadpool. She's a joke. That.
Well, she breaks the fourth wall in her comic a lot and does a lot of the same Deadpool things. But
I like classic Harley a lot. I think it's a great character. I think she's a great character. She definitely resonates with almost everybody because she has that not wanting to be alone.
Codependent
aspect
sort of
to her, and everybody can relate to that character.
Absolutely.
Some of the stuff that they started doing with her, towards the end, towards the beginning, like right before Flashpoint, that was about the point where she just became the poster child for DC, and that's it. And was a money grab for me, at least to me.
Yeah,
so
I feel like I'm a huge advocate of wanting to give that character some more depth because I read, or I try to read the Harley Quinn stuff that's in DC Rebirth. I won't say it's bad because I'll never really, I don't want to ever call a comic bad. It's just not necessarily my bag, but it seems very like surface level at times. And it's like one of the reasons that, you convinced me that Suicide Squad was a better movie than what I thought it was is because you're taking a character like Harley Quinn and you're giving her more layers and more depth, and you're making her a real person and not just some token, Deadpool like fart joke character like Deadpool is, where it's like.
I do think that she has a lot of depth and character built into her, but what I do agree with everything you've said is that she's so overexposed right now that even have a hard time reading all of the Harley Quinn comic books.
Right.
It's overload. Yeah. And for as much as I love her and I love Amanda Connor's art, I mean, I will buy just about anything Amanda Connor puts out. I just think she's great. But it's just Harley, and
Yeah.
Right.
you know, you can only take so much, and the character starts to lose the depth.
Before they oversaturated the market with her, there was a great book called Gotham City Sirens.
Yep.
That Paul Dini
Speaking-
wrote.
That they're- yep.
Speaking of which, that's going to be the new movie.
movie,
It
yeah.
was literally just announced like an
Yeah.
hour before we did this
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, I actually
got an
saw
email.
it. You know, right
Because the
before
rumor
I
was
came
at
over
first
here.
it was going to be Birds of Prey versus
Right.
the Gotham Girls or whatever. I didn't know they were actually going to use the Gotham City Siren title. So
Yeah,
Which
and,
Gotham City
that has
Sirens-
a lot of potential.
I have the entire run of that and several signed
too.
by by some of the art or the authors when they came into town at different cons. And it was, it was up and down. There were certainly runs of it where I was bored. I didn't think it was good, but then there were other parts that were just fantastic. So
Yeah.
Once I finish with Azzarello's Wonder Woman run, if you have some choice runs on that you want to lend to me,
bet,
that
yeah.
would be really cool.
the first is
The
first couple ones are
where Harley and Ivy are decide they want to go legit.
yeah.
go legit, like be good guys.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, no,
their version of
their version, but
Right.
and they recruit Riddler to help him out, and
Well,
Selena
recruit
unquote.
in other
But
words,
yeah.
Ivy. Yeah,
Oh man, it's
Ivy
a-
kind of made him cooperate.
right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a great story.
And Batgirl's a part of this as well, correct?
Well, the initial rumors for the movie were that they were going to introduce the Birds of Prey to fight them. Now, I don't know if that's still going to be true. I sure hope, because to me, the ideal, adversary for them to fight would be
The Birds of Prey. Good God,
so-
man. Give me...
And with Katana, she's kind of already established from Suicide Squad and is a popular, diverse female character, and she would fit in, being on the Birds of Prey in the Gotham City Sirens movie. So I could foresee that definitely happening.
Give me Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn teamed up against Batgirl, Canary, and Huntress.
yeah.
And man, you got my money all day long. I want it.
And I tell you what, that series came from the Jeff Johns era of DC.
Oh, really?
And he's involved in that project because he's overseeing everything. So
Which
I
they
think
still
it'd
haven't
be great.
announced that yet, but I know that that is true. But they've never. I found it odd that they never made an announcement that he's now kind of like the Kevin Feige of that universe.
Yeah.
And it's like I wish they would have, but maybe they're tested. They're on kind of thin ice right now with a lot of other stuff. It feels like, but anyway, all right, we are gonna move things on here. So the next story we get is Batwoman. First off, no, I've kept meaning to ask you what do you think of Batwoman as a character? Do you like her?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I like her and what she, represents and adds to the diversity of DC Comics. She's one of the first and most prominent LGBT characters.
Right.
So that's, great as far as that all goes. I don't read the book myself. The art in some of the earlier runs when she was in Detective Comic, I have, because it's so beautiful. It's almost an art work in and of itself, but she's not personally one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, and I feel the same way, man. I don't know, something I don't really like her. I mean, first of all, I agree with you that I do like to see like a second string kind of character that's that stands for diversity in the comics, and I feel like they're adding more of that to the comics with Rebirth, which is always a good thing. That being said, not a huge fan of the costume. I'm not a huge fan of the mask that's kind of looks like that.
That red Huntress mask. I don't even know.
Well,
devil
no,
mask.
it just it looks like a plastic mask that just sits on the front of her face.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look like it's like, how do you keep that thing on?
Yeah.
It
She
does-
actually, and I'm sure we might bring it up during the history one, but she has been around for a very, 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 very long time. Like, we're talking
When did she first show up?
early 40s.
40s, yeah.
She was
No way.
Yeah, she was
She's one of the
way before Batgirl.
quote unquote Earth 2.
Well, I didn't know.
characters.
I just recently found out that she's Bruce Wayne's cousin.
Oh, I didn't realize that, actually.
Yeah, her and Bruce Wayne are cousins. Okay. Yeah, which they just revealed that in Detective Comics.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is actually, I believe, the original Earth 2 version.
Okay.
They were cousins.
So this story, it kind of fell apart for me, honestly. I mean, the summary I wrote was Batwoman goes on an adventure that ends up with her having Hanukkah pie with some friends at a cafe. And it just felt like this was one of the ones where I felt like maybe they tried to do a little too much. I don't know. Does anyone else, did you have any thoughts on this one?
I can definitely say that out of all the stories, this was my favorite art wise. It just
Oh, yeah,
it
the
just
art-
struck
oh, yeah.
the chord that I have with cool badass girl art. I mean that was awesome. But the story, I was trying to like write my synopsis of it, and I kept I kept having trouble trying to write out what was happening in the comic. I don't know if that makes sense because it got a little confusing. They detonated an EMP, which I didn't quite
Electromagnetic pulse. Yeah.
at first, which shut all the power stuff off, and
It
was all about a whistleblower. So yeah,
It got confusing.
it did get confusing. Yeah,
But yeah, the artwork, man, that saved it for me. It was a fantastic artwork. I mean, and her mask looks cooler in this one. I guess here it kind of comes down on the bottom of her face. To me, it always looks like she's wearing just a tiara that like that covers her eyes. You know?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That's what. And I'm like, that seems odd to me, but I feel like it's connected to her head with like a piece of string or something. You know?
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
But Justin, what did you think of this one?
I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best story in the book by
Right.
any means, but the art is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And the story, though it's a little bit difficult to follow, I think the heart of the story is it is a holiday special book, and we want to include multiple different holidays.
right. And it's very important
So-
to point out that Batwoman's Jewish,
Right.
And the whole thing had to deal with her Hanukkah memories with her father,
Right.
and
Right.
that stuff, and so that it was cool. I agree.
And it was an enjoyable story overall.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I mean, it was just one of those things where sometimes, like, even still, if I read a comic book and I get confused in the middle of it, I really hate that. Like,
Right.
it bothers me,
Right.
And so, like, that was a little... I had to read this twice to kind of get the gist of what was happening. And I don't know. I feel like for a holiday special, for a 4-page story, you shouldn't have to read it twice to me. It's like, it should be a quick, like, bam, there you go. That's the point. Got across. It was cute, fun, cool. And
Yeah,
for sure.
I'll admit that it took me 3 sittings to read this book, and I finished that story, and I'm like, okay, I'm done for a
need a
little
break.
bit.
Yeah. Yep. So, okay, cool. So then the next part of the narrative is something with Harley Quinn and Beast Boy and Omen. Do you got anything written up for this one?
Oh, I mean, not really. It was just she was reading the part about Scrooge being haunted by a ghost, and Raven sneaks up behind her.
Yeah.
And she whacks her across the face with,
Yeah,
with
Harley
the book.
whacks her in the face with the
and
book.
knocks out, and she like, here, Beast Boy, I got you a present.
Yeah,
it's a
Beast
book.
Boy comes in,
and
he's
he's like,
looking
I don't
for-
want this book, and he throws it over his head, and it lands on Raven's head, knocks
Yeah.
her out again.
Literally, man, it's
Total Teen Titan.
Total Teen Titan,
Teen
and
Titans,
total like just Sunday morning comic strip.
Right.
You know, I mean, like just a cute, like little, like fun anecdote.
Very, very family circus-y.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course,
yeah, very family circusy. Yeah,
it then opens the door for a Teen Titans story.
yeah, or a Titan
a
story.
Titan story.
rather.
Yeah, sorry, Titans. Yeah.
So, do you want to take kind of describing what happened in this one, Justin?
Sure. The story opens up with the Titans. They're in New York. Roy decided that he wanted to take everybody out to New York because New Year's Eve is a big holiday for him, considering his checkered past with drugs and sobriety and everything.
Right.
And they're hunting down.
Ding Dong Daddy.
Yeah.
And apparently Ding Dong Daughter. I didn't know there was a Ding Dong Daughter.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
But
Yeah.
Ding Dong
Hey.
Ding Dong Daddy's one of those weird characters from
Is that a
the
leg-
50s or
legacy?
something like
Yeah.
that too.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just a fun little them chasing them down, and the whole time, Roy is just trying to get everybody to we got to catch them, we got to get them so that we can get down to Times Square, and there's some neat interaction between the different characters, and definitely with their past and everything, and they're all talking about how Wally's not with them for whatever reason.
Well, Wally in the last issue of Titans just disappeared back into the Speed Force.
Did he?
Did you read that
I have
issue,
not been
Titan?
able to read that issue yet.
Oh man, it was great because the whole issue took place over the course of 6 seconds. And
Oh.
like Kadabra, do you want me to tell you what kind of?
No, don't-
Okay,
don't
yeah,
spoil that one for
It's
me.
a fantastic issue.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I'll throw it
I
on the Dropbox
unfortunately have
for you.
been, behind.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's cool.
But then, they come up with an idea so that they can capture Ding Dong Daddy and Ding Dong Daughter.
Right.
They decide they're going to have a race with them. For pink slips.
Yeah.
For pink slips, I like it.
And the race takes place during the ball drop. And they manage to capture Ding Dong Daddy, and then at the end they're all up on top of the tower there in Times Square, just talking about how it was more important to be around friends than to actually be there when the ball dropped. Mm-hmm. So, and then it very, very end, Dick says, "Wait a minute, I'm late," which segues right into the next story. Yeah,
and the next story is just another quick one-page story of Dick and Babs, and they're supposed to meet up for New Year's, and they're both running late because they're both fighting crime synonymously, and they both end up meeting up together and watching some fireworks on the bridge, and that's just cute and fun, and it's
I love the fact that they've got the relationship between those two again.
They were two of my favorite, even when they're not like an on-again type couple type thing, just them being friends, having known each other, almost gone through the same thing with Batman at a young age. I love their relationship.
In New 52, to an extent, they played that up, especially during the Gail Simone.
Yeah, I say Gail Simone had Nightwing star.
Well, and the issue of Death in the Death of the Family. The Batgirl issue, where Dick's he goes to console her, and everything, and just the relationship between those two characters has been so special since they introduced her.
Yes.
And it's important that it's back and it's, in full force, and not necessarily them getting together, but them sharing time with each other as friends. And
right. Yeah.
I really liked seeing that.
Yep. Yeah. It was just like two pages or less, but it was
one page. Just
one page.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was great. I love the one page things for the holiday special. I just love them.
Well, yeah. And I mean, the line, I hope Barbara didn't get tired of waiting and go home. And on the other side of that panel, I hope Dick didn't get tired of waiting and go home,
Yeah.
And Babs and Dick are just man, they're the perfect cut. I don't know. I love those are two of my... Babs is my favorite DC character. Okay, I guess I said Superman. But Babs is always going to be my bottom of the line favorite. Just because she's the female version of Nightwing, and just to me a little bit cooler than Nightwing.
Mm-hmm. But they're the hope of the Batman family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely
in a big way. Yeah. That I never really thought about that, but yeah, that's very true.
For a very long time, it was Tim Drake, and then his dad got killed because. Can't be too happy if you're a member of the Batman family.
No. Gotta take that away.
I think it's always been them, other than that little bit of time where it was Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the last sort of issue or anecdote of this issue is Simon and Jessica. Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, Xandor, these. So they're baking together in the kitchen at Jessica's house, and they get called off by the lanterns up in the sky because there's some extraterrestrials. These extraterrestrials, turns out, are 3 aliens that make them endure 3 trials to save the planet. The first trial is a trial of, what is it?
Well, they accept being Green Lanterns again, knowing...
Yeah,
what they know now.
Yep, and they accept. They succeed in that first trial, and that's pretty cool. The second trial is what? Oh, which one of you? Yeah. So only one of you can be a Green Lantern. Which one are you? And they're like, no, we're not accepting that. We're both Green Lanterns. That's the deal. And they're like, okay, you passed that trial. And the next trial is a trial battle to the death, and Simon gets quote killed right away, and Jessica has to basically accept the fact that she either fights this thing and dies, or the whole world dies, and she decides to fight it as well, and of course she passes that final test. So they pass the test, the 3 aliens leave them alone, and this whole story ends with them being back at Jessica's place and baking some Christmas cookies together.
They were eating king cake.
Oh, king cake,
which is a kind of a New Orleans cake. It's like a pastry. Almost.
Oh, cool.
And
very cool.
There's a little plastic baby Jesus that goes inside every single king cake.
Oh,
and then whoever gets the baby Jesus gets good luck for next year or something.
Oh, cool.
Like that. So it's kind of like finding the fortune or something like that. And at the end, Baz bitten to the baby Jesus, and
Yeah.
he was the one that got it, and she talked about it was a symbol for hope. So I thought that was kind of
Yeah,
she must
yeah.
have some heritage. I guess, if she was having a king cake. But.
Oh yeah, she does. I don't know specifically much about that, but I know that she does. Yeah, man, anything with these two in it, I don't know. They crack me up, and I love their partnership. They're just two opposites who work really well together, and it's a lot of fun to watch them sort of, be themselves around each other and stuff. I don't know, man. This is like this is my dynamic duo for the DCU. I mean, they're just. Because Simon or Hal has fused their lanterns together, so they can't charge their lanterns unless they're together, and that's the whole thing about them working together. So it's just kind of fun, man. I love these two. Do you know much about these guys, Justin?
No, actually, I don't. I've read a couple of the issues so far. The more I see of them, the more I like these characters, and the more I continue to think that Hal Jordan is a villain. But no, I love this story. Like,
yeah.
It was hard to get to this point, but once I got to this point, I really like this story. I like the whole, three trials, the suffering, sincerity, and integrity. And it was a very heartfelt story.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah,
and definitely a really good story to have for these characters that are fairly new.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, that most people have only known for about 6 months.
Right. Yeah, man, it's just great. I love it. And then the whole issue ends with just a big send off where, Harley Quinn, has her concert with everyone, all the members of the DCU apparently, or what we can see of all of them standing up on the stage saying Merry Christmas in their, respective tongues or from their
Kwanzaa,
respective.
Feliz Navidad.
Yeah.
I liked it that Zatanna said, I'm going to try to say it. Stop no harte or peace on earth because she says everything backwards. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay,
that's how she casts her spells.
Awesome. Yeah. And then Harley Quinn ends it by saying, next year we're gonna go bigger and better, no expense spared. And then the last panel is 3 months later. The Suicide Squad is just hammered drunk, and they're like, she's like, we drank the whole budget away again, didn't we? And Amanda's like,
Yep.
Amanda Waller's like, oh yes, you did. And that's the end. DC Rebirth holiday special, front to back. So, what'd you guys think as a whole?
I mean, as a whole, I really liked it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not like being Scroogey or anything, but I'm not a huge holiday fan.
I'm not either.
I just think it's a lot of work. I don't like buying presents. I don't like the
Same.
crowds. I don't like decorating to have to take it down in 2 weeks. And I'd just be fine if it went away. But this is as much as I
not to be a Scrooge,
but Christmas could just go away.
Sucks.
Yeah. But this was probably my most enjoyable part of the holiday season. This was just a nice, happy little holiday comic book, and I can deal with that.
Yeah. I don't like the Christmas carols getting stuck in my head, man. Every time I freaking see something, I get one stuck in my head, and it kills me. But yeah, as a whole, like I enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun. It was a fun little read. It was maybe a little longer than I feel like they could have maybe took out like maybe a third of it, and I would have been fine. But overall, it was fun, and it kind of brought the whole Rebirth family together, or the big parts. What did you think, Justin?
I also am a very bah humbug type person. Holidays are not a good time for me. But like I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I definitely, for those of you that haven't read it, that want to read it, I definitely recommend reading it in segments. Because I think if I would have went straight through it, I wouldn't have liked it.
You get a little fatigued towards about the back half of it. You're like, oh God, is this over yet? So probably a good thing to stick a bookmark in, pick up maybe before you go.
Definitely long enough.
I honestly read 20 pages, took a break, read 40 pages, took a break, read the rest of it. Yeah.
But I do recommend reading it in order. I was really impressed how cohesive it all was with the Harley interludes directly introducing what was going to come next in the story, and the flow and layout of it was really good.
I tend to agree with you.
And there were some really, really good stories.
For sure.
The Super Sons, the crypto story, the Batwoman story is good. It's just not.
It's good to look at. I mean, that's the most beautiful one to look at.
Best artwork in that. Yeah,
the Detective Chimp. That all of them. had their own good highlights.
And they were
Right.
almost all different. And
Yeah.
all unique. Not one had the same. I mean, the first two Batman, Superman ones, had similar artwork, but they were still different, and each
Very cool.
one just had a different art, a different feel.
And it definitely was, that first one was definitely Super Sons. The second one was definitely Action Comics.
Right.
Or not, is it Action? No, it's Superman.
Superman,
which
yep.
is the Superman family,
Yep.
So, yeah,
or the Smith family. That threw me for a loop because
Yeah.
I don't read Superman. I mean, I
Well, that's their fake
their
name.
fake
yeah.
name. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
I was like,
cool.
the Smith family. You're the Kent family.
So we are actually literally just hit an hour here, so that's
Excellent.
perfect timing. That it couldn't have worked out better. But real quick, if you had to rate it on our rating system, what would you give the whole thing?
I definitely go with a blessing. I like
Cool.
it.
I'd go with a blessing as well.
I'm gonna say Holy. I think it's a great book. I think there's one caveat there for me on that is you have to be reading a lot of the Rebirth stuff for it to be a Holy. But I think there's a lot of little fun Easter eggs that are like, yeah, that's fun,
Yeah.
and it kind of connects to what's going on and stuff for me. But as a holiday, I don't know, low Holy. I think probably. I think it's pretty great. I guess that's what I would say. It's better than good. It's not quite great. It's just pretty great. I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that. So, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and sign us off here. Before I do, just want to let you guys know we do want your feedback. So if you want to give us some iTunes reviews, we do love iTunes reviews. We are very partial to the 5-star variety of those reviews. But if you want to give us some reviews, we would greatly appreciate that. We'll give you a shout out on the show and all that stuff. If you want to find us anywhere, just look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Nerd Church Radio. If you want to find me personally, my name is Ben Dupey. I'm on Facebook. That's BenDupey. Where can we find you, Noah?
You can find me on Facebook as well, Noah O'Toole.
Okay, and Justin?
You can find me on Facebook as well, Justin Taylor, Taylor.
Beautiful. And do you guys have anything else for the listeners tonight?
No, if you don't listen or if you don't hear from me before then, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Yep. Happy holidays and a bah humbug from the people at Nerd Church Radio.
Absolutely.
Have a good night, everyone.